Well, good morning, Big Daddy Aaron. How you doing? Well, hey, before I start off this meeting with Aaron, awesome dude. He has a very powerful story that he would like to share. And some of the things that he's going to discuss today might be very overwhelming. It'll have some stuff that happened was in his childhood, and it could definitely be triggering for some people. So proceed with caution. Uh,
Listener, beware. You're in for a scare. You remember those goosebumps?
I do, man. Then you had like a bunch of different little flips, and you could
Yes.
go down a different alley.
Yes.
Well, so how you doing, Big Daddy Aaron?
Come on, man. I was just playing about. No, I'm doing great, man. Um, of course, um, job wise, we had to go back to the office, which was beneficial. I mean, I get to see people. That's always a plus. Um, my wife and I are doing IVF, so that's a good one. We are giving a good old college try, as you were. Um, my
Can,
son, Aiden, he's here right now, laying on the couch watching Teen Titans, probably again for the 100th time. Just doing dad work, you know?
well, congratulations, Aaron. Nice on the whole college try. I think it's more than that. I think it's more of the academic try when you're adding in scientists and doctors into
Dude,
it.
I'm telling you, man.
Well, Aaron, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your name? What you brought you here?
So, my name's Aaron Johnson. I am wanting to, I like the cup. Dude, I just want to say for the record, I don't know if this caught it, but your shirt is pretty awesome. I am Team Hufflepuff all the way. I don't know what house you're in. I want to. Okay, wait. I just want to. I don't think you are Slytherin. You might be Claw because you're freaking smart. Um, Gryffindor, okay, because you were a Marine, okay, but I really want to say Hufflepuff also because you are that guy. You're friendly. Because, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was actually just going to say I like the shirt because of I like the make believe game of riding around on sticks and while you're playing that game. Yeah, we might actually
Quidditch.
yeah, Quidditch.
So you never really
No, I
chose
watched it.
your.
I never
Yeah,
chose the
but
house.
did you choose your house?
I did not choose my house.
Oh, come on.
I'm a free agent.
Okay. So the reason why I say this is because I met Will at peer support training at the in Chicago. Um, we both work at the VA. We both are peer support. We are. I love my job. I don't know about you, Will, but I love my job.
I love my job, man.
There
Every
we
day
go.
I get together and get to work with people that have had similar understandings and beliefs. It's had me grow a lot, and honestly, because of my job led me into talking for a protector summit, which is a governor's challenge, and posting it out there and just being vulnerable. I realized I was not being rejected by my fellow peers, family, and stuff. And what I realized is that I didn't get rejected, and there's a lot of people's stories that have their own personal story, and this is what
Mhm.
led me to doing this.
Yeah, same. I don't work in mental health aspect as much as other ones do. I work in HUD-VASH, which is the homeless veterans. Um, Homelessness is pretty rampant among around the veteran population. It sucks, really does
Use
suck.
it, use it tell.
I Thank you. Um, they get housed with us, and they just sit in their house just going like this. They don't really do TV or anything else. So that's my job when when I come in and I take them out. I get them out of their bubble and I interact with them. I sit with them. We play games. We talk. We socialize. We just go through the process. And they talk about what they're feeling and doing. And the same, I talk about how I'm feeling and doing. I love to share. So, yeah. Uh, Will, you asked me to jump in on here, and I was thrilled. I, I was, I'm honored, really, that you asked me to jump in on here because during the trip to Chicago, a really, you were a really strong motivator there for me. You, you had my back there. You taught me some things. You led me, and I know some other guys there, and um, I know being here from Lubbock, Texas, um, we always wore closed-toed shoes and jeans and a collar shirt, but you just showed up to class in sandals and shorts and whatever. And dude, you made me laugh every day.
Well, I appreciate that. No, it's the reason I asked you is because I had a chance to get to know you a little bit when we were in Chicago doing that training, and your story was very powerful to me. And how one of the things that really stood out to me was that the willingness to be wanted to be seen, and the joking, the person that you were really showing through. You were the only person to have your wife come out there as support, and you could just tell how much she loved you, or not love, but loves you. And it was such a beauty. The other thing was, it's like when we see people of all different backgrounds and making it look a little bit clearer, because my outside doesn't, or the way that I speak doesn't always actually bleed through from the stuff that I went through, and how getting help or talking to somebody about it, like you have a stutter to you. And like when we talked about when we were in Chicago, was using a toe or something that was a distractive device.
What? I have a stutter? I'm playing. Yeah,
I
I
know,
do.
but it was just using a something else and having
Uh-huh.
somebody listening to you and actually just seeing you for who you are was able to allow you to be able to talk a little bit differently, instead of needing that to be the catalyst to be heard or seen.
There is sometimes in work I call veterans to, dude, look at this guy. Hey, really? You don't want to be on camera? It's it's my basset hound and
Nice.
my wife's dog.
So
Okay. Uh, my so
did I lose you, bud?
at work I talk to people
Aaron,
on our normal basis. Yeah.
hello?
Hello? Hello?
There you go.
Okay. At work, I talk to people on a normal basis on the telephone. And there's times when I forget the toe or anything else. I I am like, hello, this is Aaron Johnson, and and then I see myself going like this, right? Because like if somebody's watching me, they are like, dude, do you have Tourette's or what? It's like, no, man, I need to do something else. I can't think about what I'm saying. I have to like concentrate on something else so I don't stutter, because I do have a stuttering problem, and that is what's led me to, you know, my severe anxiety, because I am thinking about the worst. I'm thinking about what people are thinking of me. I'm thinking about what people are, oh my gosh, look at what he's saying. Oh my gosh, you don't want to you don't want to tickle your baby because they will turn out like Aaron. I heard that so many times growing up. Um,
So what backwood place are you from? From tickling a baby makes you think they get a stuttering problem?
yes, that tickling babies and making them laugh will make them have a stuttering problem. Have you never heard that?
No, no, I have not.
I mean, there are some other things that you haven't heard that I said, like, man, that will make a man, man, that will make a rabbit hug a hound dog. You never heard that either, huh?
No, because I actually just looked it up. It says no, tickling a baby will not cause stuttering. Stuttering is a complex speech disorder that has multiple potential causes, none of which are related to tickling.
Huh. Well, by golly. So I know it is hereditary.
So it's hmm, the when you think about this, and do you think that the stutter is all of you, or do you think that that is just a part of you that you get extremely judged on?
I think that's it's not it's not who I am. I'm not it's not my core, if that's what you're asking. It's not I don't have I'm going to say this, okay? You watched a movie Inside Out. I am I am guessing. I have joy, happiness, sadness, anxiety, all this stuff, right? Um I think I think stutter is in there, but he's teamed up with he's teamed up with anxiety to like to have a club, and him and and stutter and anxiety are um off on their own, and they are getting worse and worse and worse every time they cause mischief. And whenever they do cause mischief, and whenever they get so built up, they 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 like to get control of the motherboard. And and um and Aaron um feels like I don't have control of it whenever, just like, bad days and good days, right? Everybody has bad days and good days. Today seems like I have a good day, real good day. Um, but there is other days when, oh gosh, you can tell I have a problem.
So I know you talked about stuttering and anxiety being the root or actually getting together and causing mischief. It's when I think about something that is it's different, very different, but when you and I talked about like our conversation about what we're having, do you think that the stuttering has done any helpful for you?
Um, it actually has, man. It, I believe it brought me out of my shell. I believe because, of course, I'd done therapy from kindergarten till until I was in the military. I mean, I opted in to go to therapy when I was in the military, and so on and so forth. Dude, it was it brought me out of my shell when I was young. There was people that I connected with, like some therapy teachers, or I don't know what they're called. Ther- Therapist. There we go. Connected with them, and I remember um, when when I was in middle school, I had this philosophy of don't care what people think about me, just do me, and because I will never see them again in my whole life, and yeah, I was me. I don't have a filter sometimes, and other times I'm wise enough to keep my mouth shut. Um, but I don't have a filter. I don't have. Um, I am a very extrovert. I love being center of. I love being the center of attention, but it's probably because I have a stutter, and not because I want to be hidden. It's because I guess it's because I want people to notice how outgoing I am, how funny I am, how witty I am, how this I am versus my stutter.
So before we go too far into it, isn't it kind of fucked up that they described the thing of stuttering for stuttering people that have a
As an
hard time?
ST,
Yeah,
yes, dude, yes,
it's so fucked up. It's like, oh, what kind of problem? I was no, no.
100%, 100%. Like, couldn't it be called like I have a Bobby or it's something? This fucking Bobby, like, or something that's not with the ST word, you know,
And oh man,
dude.
it was just a fucking, it's a kick in the dick, dude. It really
Dude,
is,
it really
man.
is, man. It really
And
is. It sucks.
it's like, dude, I have this problem. What kind of problem you have? You could fucking hear what I
Like,
have.
come on. Do I have to tell you?
So I do want to actually bring it to the other thing because this is where you said that you want to talk about and being the center of attention. Do you believe that your childhood had much to do with you needing outside validation?
Yes, because as a childhood, okay. So, yes, because I'll just jump into it, man. As a childhood, my mother wasn't around very much. Um, she was she wasn't there. She wasn't coherent some of the time. She wasn't present. She was off with her boyfriends or friends, let's to say. She would be more involved with them than with us three boys. Um, Even when she was there, I actually remember um, uh, one of her boyfriends. I'm gonna name him because his name doesn't give me power no more. Um, for the longest time, I couldn't even think about him because it was so triggering. His name was Bernard. Me and my three brothers, we watched the Three Ninjas. Do you remember Rocky, Tum Tum, and Bullwinkle? I don't know if that's his name, but we'll
So
just go with it.
I'm gonna put a pause right here. So this is where I was talking about where it's gonna get a little bit triggering, and I wanted to give people a chance to realize that this is going to be the hard part when it's talking about it. The other thing, Aaron, I want to say your stutter is doing really well right now.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
using my toe.
all right. So you're talking about Rocky and Bullwinkle and Tum
I
Tum.
that is that isn't his name. I don't remember his name. Rocky something and Tum Tum. Tum Tum's the young one. So I was the youngest one of of my brothers. We hated this guy. He was not a good guy. He was dressed like a cholo every day. A cholo here in Texas, it's like a Mexican gangster, or as you will. I don't know if you knew that. Do you know that?
I do, but thank you for explaining it.
Yeah, of course. So he, um, he, I, I was his anvil, right? He would, he would talk down to me. He would, he would beat me. And I remember this one time, I said, "Dang it, I lost." We were waiting for the bus to go to summer camp, and I was talking about a Batman game, right? Dang it, I lost. And he grabbed me by the arm, and then he said, "You don't fucking cuss. Cursing is bad. You don't fucking cuss." So he took me home, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no," because I wasn't mad about missing out summer camp. I was more mad about I was going with him home alone. My mom wasn't there. My brothers weren't there. It was just going to be me and him. I was terrified. I was kicking and screaming the whole way. And then I remember um, that he hit me in the back of the neck with a hammer. I remember that. A lot of my family says, "No, Aaron, it didn't happen. Just push it underneath the rug." Family secrets, right? Aaron, it didn't happen. Just push it under the rug. Um, and then I remember one time, me and my brothers, we were watching that movie. We loved that movie because it was about three brothers and a bad guy. So we were pretending like we were the three ninja brothers. I was in the front, my two brothers were in the back. So we ran to the kitchen, and then we were like, "Ha!" I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. Like, come on, what are we gonna do to this 30-year-old man? Like, come on, right? And I and then I looked back and said, "Are you ready, guys?" They were gone. And then I was like, "Son of a beesh," right? And then he grabbed me, man. And I remember this. He grabbed me, and then he took off all my clothes, and then he threw me up, and then he threw me up against the wall. And of course, I blacked out, just like that. And then I woke up to my backside hurting. I woke up. He I came to realize, like, later on in life, that he had his way with me. He raped me. My mother was present. Well, she was in the room. She wasn't present. She was hooked up on drugs. Um, Later on in life, I want to say two or no, about 5 years ago, I actually confronted her about it. I said, "Mom, um, you you knew this was happening." Like, "No, no, mijo, I didn't know. I didn't know." "Mom, you had to know because you were in there." "No, mijo, I didn't know. I didn't know." So then it turned out that she finally admitted that she was on meth. And mijo, I was on meth. I knew, but I didn't care. I wanted to get my next fix. So then I was like, "Okay, cool, great. You were supposed to protect me, and you were." Yeah. And um, my brothers were always my go-to guys. They were always my ride and die, as you were, right? Um, they were the people who always had my back, right? And 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 then to this day they are still. But I don't I don't blame them for running away or I don't blame them. They were kids too. Like if like they will be hearing this, right? So I just say that I had more balls than they did, right? Um, so, but later in, say, in like a couple of months, right? They had an out. They met friends, right? So they they were gone with their friends almost every day. Like they would get home from middle school and they'll be gone. Uh, they would go with their friends and do whatever. They would probably get food. Me living off crackers and freaking mustard, right? I didn't know when the next meal was going to come, right? Um, I actually remember one time I had fun living with my mom. It was the day that the Ninja Turtles came on TV. The the regular Ninja Turtle movie. And dude, I sat in front of the TV for like the whole hour just because I loved it. It wasn't out. It wasn't out from my chaotic life at that time. And now I use that to this day. I use TV as a coping mechanism when whenever I'm feeling anxious or depressed um or feeling emotions that I don't like and I don't want in my life. I turn on the boob tube. I mean, sorry, I turn on the TV, right? I don't watch boobs. I t- I turn on the TV, and my wife is going to hear that. I watch the Rugrats, man.
Nice.
I watch cartoons, or I watch, um, or 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 I watch the Phantom Menace, or watch something that I like that I enjoy watching, right? Then after all the troubling in my childhood, I went to a place called Cal Farley's Boys Ranch because I felt very unwanted as a child, right? We had three boys. My mom couldn't take care of us. My dad left. I felt nobody wanted three boys. No one wanted me because I had a stuttering problem, right? Um, I felt like people kept passing me around. Family members said, "No, no, no. We don't want Aaron. Let's move him to let's move him to you. Let's move him to his aunt's house. Now let's move him to his uncle's house. Now let's give him to his grandparents. Now let's give him to his other aunt." Like stuff like that. I felt like nobody wanted the disabled kid, as you were, you know, even though I never saw it as a disability. Never really have. Um, yeah, I remember I I totally jumped over this because I had healing in this recently. I had freedom from this. I remember um, when I was young, living with my grandparents. One of the times, I actually remember him killing her and he killing himself with a we'll call pistol because I wanted because she was going to leave him and I wanted to go with her.
Your grandparents?
Yeah.
So your grandfather killed your grandmother?
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Were you
Me
the
and
only?
my three brothers were. Yeah. And, it was just,
It's interesting the way that you just shrugged your shoulder like,
yeah, because, dude, if I talked about it back in like 1997 or something like that, dude, I'll be bawling my eyes out right now. I talked to I don't know how many therapists because for like the longest time I thought it was my fault because I honestly believed that we'll call he killed her because I wanted to go back to Mexico with her, right? Because that was the case. She was going to take me back to Mexico with her. And then we'll call I was like, yeah, yeah, let's go. We'll call it would be fun. It was in 1995. It was August of 1995. And I don't know, 5 years old. I don't remember.
how old? What year were you born?
88,
And what month were you born?
November,
So you were 6 years old.
6 years old. Yeah. And for the longest time, I thought he killed her because he was going to take me. Right. Dude, it wasn't till I was in like the military that I finally got closure from that.
It's there is a lot of things that you just said when you were just talking about childhood. A lot happened when you were 6 years old, 5 years old, relationships, abandonment,
Very abandoned.
like joining the military didn't help from what I remember what you were talking about. The it's interesting that while you were talking about this, it's like no place is safe.
No,
No place is safe.
no.
It's like I go here, I'm not safe. If I'm here, I'm not safe. And
I
then
d- Sorry.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you got it.
I actually do remember I went to my tia Nini's house, my aunt Nini's house.
Thank you. Some of us only speak English.
Exactly. Yeah, you're welcome. I went I I went to my tia Nini's house, and there it felt safe, man. It felt good. I finally had a cousin. Two. I had two cousins living there with us, three boys.
Hmm.
So it was me, Robbie, Blake, Ben, and Melanie. Ben, Ben and Melanie were my cousins. I grown so close to Melanie because she was 2 years younger than me. She she is 2 years younger than me. Um, I call her my sister now. Um, Dude, there was those there there was those 2 years of of I want to say 1 year, maybe one or 2 years we were living there, and finally they decided to take us to Cal Farley's Boys Ranch because they just couldn't handle 5 kids. I mean, I don't blame them, right? And
So
so,
no offense, just thinking about you running around in your boxers going hiya or actually
yeah,
tighty-whities,
dude,
it would be like traumatizing for everybody just running.
dude, dude, I was like that. I was like, like, dude, I was the crazy ADHD kid, 100%, right?
I'm just trying to make a little light of the
No, no, no,
situation.
no, no, no. Yeah,
Dude,
I get it.
it's I actually have a personal friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name because hopefully one day when I get a chance to interview him too, he has a similar experience of getting passed around. And he's one of the most beautiful, genuine people I have actually met. And I really feel like his family lost out on really quality time. And getting to know you a bit, you could just tell that you have had a beautiful soul, regardless of what actually has happened. And I think your stutter is so unique. It's when you get anxious or when you're trying to present, or while we were actually having this dialogue back and forth, you've just been relaxing into it, and it's just been not as intense. It's kind of cool, man. It's like it's really cool watching you be able to do that. And yeah, you have such a
Thank you.
beautiful soul, even though you have had such a traumatizing past. They call it like more like a a wounded healer, is
Wounded
what they.
healer. I like that. That will be my new D&D character. That will be my new D&D character. Wounded healer.
Well, I could see you doing it as a pirate for some odd reason.
Really?
Yeah, I could see
I can
you as
see
a
that.
pirate. Yeah, like a pirate mage. Hmm.
I like that.
I don't
I
know much
like that.
about D&D, so I'm just throwing it
Me
out there.
neither. I just wanted to throw that out there. I never played it. I have always wanted to play it for those who are listening. So if you want to join in, please invite me. Um, um, but my aunt and my uncle decided to send us to Cal Farley's Boys Ranch. Cal Farley's Boys Ranch is a place for troubled youth or kids whose parents aren't around or stuff like that, right? Think of like a foster kids, like a foster home, but it's like a ranch and it's in Texas. and it is all year round. And dude, they have their own public schools, they have their own dining hall, they have their own rodeos once a year. And yes, I rode bulls some. Yeah, it was fun. It was a blast. Um I kissed my first girl there.
I
Uh
thought you said it was only a boy place.
no, it was boy. I had my first kiss there. No, no, it was boys and girls. Even though it's called Boys Ranch, it had girls there too.
Okay.
So I went there and I was kind of a lot of kids that go there their first month or the first week. They are like, oh, I miss my family. And they're crying and crying and crying. I never felt that way. I just felt like, oh, another place that my family didn't want me. So they really took me out of the picture. Right. They they like my whole family didn't like me enough that they dropped me here, right? But then I was able to be with other kids my own age. I was able to have friends and maybe a family, right? The first people that I called, the first people I called that cared about me and really loved me, they taught me about my faith, man. They taught me about my faith like big times. They like know because okay, I knew about church growing up because my Dianini, my aunt, my my aunt would take us to church, of course, but it was more of like a you have to come because it's the right thing to do on Sunday morning because we live in the Bible Belt, right? Um, yeah, you have to come to church, blah 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 blah. It wasn't until I went to the ranch that I finally had a relationship with God. And I honestly thank Chris Baxter and Marie Baxter for that. Mrs. and Mr. Baxter. Um I dude, I love those guys. I loved them. They dude, that that was the first taste of a father that I had. He would play football with us. He would wrestle with us in like the big room and like the living room. He would Mrs. Baxter would come to us in 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 our room and just pray with us and help me fall asleep because like because I would have nightmares and I would have dreams, and she would be there putting hands and praying on me until I went to sleep. And I just felt like a hug from them every time I was around them. I felt safe. The first time in years that I felt safe. Um, the ranch, they didn't really push God, but they guided me to God, right? They didn't say, you need to believe in God or else, right? They just said, hey, so here's his Bible. We will let we we will let you choose if if you believe him or not, right? Which is all right, cool. I will give it a read, and that's when I loved to read.
You learned
Is
how to
at the
read. I'm still impressed by that.
yay! I can read.
That's not so nice, right there.
I know, I know.
Actually, there's another thing I was thinking about while you were talking. Was a friend of mine told me some of the pain that we go through is not for us. It's actually for other people. If we never went through such pain, we wouldn't have been able to help out people the way we
That's
do.
true.
We wouldn't be able to normalize or empathize with people the way that we do. We wouldn't be able to care about people the same way we do. Does it suck? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, you know what? Let me actually just burn myself with a hot coil. Yep. Oh, but
Uh-huh.
no, it's so weird when somebody said that to me, and it was like our pain sometimes is not for us; it's for others.
Uh-huh.
And when you were talking about the uh, the foster care and actually people really loving you, I was thinking about this guy I just interviewed. His name was Chris, and he was talking about how he went to foster care when he was 6 years old. And I know they were not foster; they were at the ranch, and how you're able to see love, and you're also able to see role models, but you're also seeing how other people behave and how other things are happening in your life. But no, I appreciate, man. I appreciate you sharing all that. I'm curious. I want to hear more about the family, the couple.
So this was really hard on me, man. Um, they so I got so close to them that I asked them, "Can I call you mom and dad?" And of course, they said, "No, you really can't. I'm sorry. It's just not what we do here at the ranch." Granted, I never had a mother and father, right? Um, and then and hold up, I'm reading my notes real quick, man.
It's all good, man.
Okay, so we just had an amazing time together, right? We, dude, I got to be a kid there, right? I met other friends. We were called jumped in lakes. We learned to fish. He, Mr. Baxter, actually taught me how to fish. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to be a kid, right? And then he was moving houses. He he went they went from Edward's home to Fisher home. And And then like we knew about it, like us kids knew about it, and I was devastated. I was like, wait, what about me? Like another people who says that they loved me are leaving me. Like what gives, right? So then they asked me, like, Aaron, no, or do you want to go with us? And at that time, I thought they meant like go with them, to live with them, to be adopted by them, to just live with them. And then like I said, so finally I get to call you mom and dad. And then they were like, no, you will still be a resident at Fisher Home. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. just just because I'm going with them. Like, yeah, oh, of course, right? And then we grew up, and like, I grew up in Fisher Home. I became a teenager, and teenagers don't stay in little kids' homes, right? They go in bigger homes. So I went to Carter Home, which is a teenager home. And then the Baxters went to another home, and I was really close to them still. Okay. So, all right, cool. And then I went to Carter home, to the big kid home, and I met the Thorns. And at first I was kind of hesitant. I was like, oh, great. And, but now I call them Mama Thorn and Pops, right? Uh, Another family that really cares and loves me and all my brothers. Um, dude, they they are awesome, right? The boys in the even the boys in we call Carter home. Um, we were inseparable, right? I finally had more brothers to call brothers. Man, we wore Mama Thorn ragged. Like, dude, we were jumping from like the rooftops, jumping into the trees. We would take the laundry basket down the hill. There was one kid who was in the porta potty and someone kicked it over. Like, we were just doing dumb teenage stuff, right? I know all her gray hair is from us. I just know it, right? But of course, like, we were being teenagers. And then, like, the feeling of no one loves me and no one cares about me was absent. I didn't feel that. The whole time I was at the ranch, I did not feel that. Um, so, um, I didn't really feel, I thought everybody there was like a friend and stuff like that, right? So, all right, cool. I had a lot of friends. I have lots of family. I have lots of everything. It wasn't till recently I realized you have friends for a season and friends for a lifetime, right? My friends there were the season that I needed them. I needed a friend, I needed family there, and I needed that to heal that wound that 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 I was getting passed around. All right. And then it wasn't until recently that I realized that like, okay, I saw them last year and we were just going to be best friends again. Like, no, they are like, what are you doing hugging me? I don't even know you. It's like, yeah, I am Aaron. Yeah, but you're not the same Aaron. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. Right.
It's yeah, I was actually having a conversation about this yesterday morning. not about that particular situation, but about how you have people and you know them from an emotional time period, which is like a fracture in your timeline,
Exactly.
and you remember them so close. Because I've had multiple conversations on this topic, and I asked some of the psychologists I get a chance to work with, and also social workers, and I'll ask some really, really bright people some questions that makes it a little bit hard for me to makes it a little bit clearer for me to understand. I was like, how come I can still be close with the guys I went to war with? And we were together for about 7 months overseas, and then a few months before and a few months after. And it was interesting about how we care about them, but we're not always in their life. And then other people, it doesn't mean as much to
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but during that 7 years, I was at the ranch, I did make lifelong friends. Um, there was a female and a male that I met there that are lifelong friends, and y'all, and then y'all will be listening to this, and y'all know who y'all's are. So shout out, whoop whoop. But after graduation, this is the thing that hurt me to the core. After graduation, Boys Ranch gives you, I don't know how long, maybe 30 minutes to pack up your crap and leave. Like, for reals, we couldn't stay there past graduation. You had to figure out your life. So my aunt came, and then she was like, okay, it's time to call take you home. No, this is my home. Boys Ranch is my home. No, no, no. We need to take you back to Lubbock home. Uh, wait, what? Like, yeah. So to begin your life. Like, say what? So Boys Ranch was kind of like, okay, peace out, right? You were raised here for 7 years. Everybody that you know lives here. All of your house parents, the Baxters, and like the 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 Baxters and the Thorns are here. Okay, peace out. And it's like, wait, what's just happened, right? I had to learn about my family all over again. I had to learn about my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I had to learn all that again because it's been 7 years, man. You know, um, dude, I was sad every day, right? Every day, I would like, I would, I would react out to my family. I would just because like it was like another it 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 was another family that said we don't want you now, bye, right? So it went back to my childhood again. Oh great, no one wanted me, right? But at this time I can't say that because I am an adult. I am 18 years old, right? I can't say that. So I decided to go to the Air Force.
Before you go on, why can't you say that?
Why can't I say what?
Why can't you say that to your
Oh,
family?
because I was an adult at that time. I was 18 years old. I
But
can't,
you, okay.
it kind of feels like you can say that as a child. You can't say that as an adult. You can't talk about your feelings as an adult because you are supposed to be in charge of your feelings.
So this is kind of where I'm glad that you're bringing this up. It's not. It's not actually where we stop. This is not where we stop. This is where we start to define things and we begin them. Not just. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but I'm really this is one of the areas I'm stressing is because if we don't talk about our emotions or feelings, we are screwed. We're going
100%.
it's like we're going to go towards other behaviors or other things that trying to suppress it. And typically it does harmful stuff.
Yeah. One
So
second, man. 1 second.
go ahead.
Sorry, my son was in here playing with the dogs. So I decided to go into the Air Force because why not? My brother was at West Point, right? My brother went to West Point, and my aunt, um, my aunt loved that he was at West Point. My aunt praised to everybody. Oh my gosh, Blake is in West Point. Blake is doing great things. Blake is blah 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 blah. Right? Aaron, you need to be more like Blake. You need to blah 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 blah. And I hated that everybody said you need to be like your brother Blake. My whole childhood, you need to be like your brother Blake. Um, I'm not Blake. I'm Aaron. Dude, how many drinks are you drinking, bro?
This this is my BCAAs.
Oh, okay. I just saw you have 2 cups, so I was like, whoa.
You know what? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. You gotta start double
There we
fisting.
go. There we go. So, like, I knew that I tried college and that wasn't a thing. Like, I just couldn't. I just couldn't concentrate. I had severe ADHD. I had issues. I had mental health issues that I didn't even know that I had. Like, I just knew that I felt this way and I didn't know why. Right. And I went to the Air Force. I went to basic training. I met friends in basic training and tech school. But then I went to my military base. I went to my Air Force base. Hated it, man. Uh Holloman Air Force Base. It was a black hole. It was a succubus of the freaking Air Force, man. There was rude people. It was hard to find friends, hard to socialize due to being, the weird one. I was the one who didn't really talk to people. I was the one who kept in my room because no one, because look, I didn't want to talk to anybody. Everybody was rude there because everybody hated it, you know? Um, I had mental health issues that I was unaware of there. I didn't know, right? And I just slept a lot. I mean, a lot, a lot. Ate at the DFAC a lot, man. Um, then like I would go to work. I would go back to the dorms. I would go to the DFAC and back to the dorms. I would do that cycle all over again, right? And just there wasn't a lot of socialization, right? Um, then I reached out to mental health there. And finally, my supervisor seemed like something was wrong. So then he said, hey, you need to reach out to them. So I reached out and I had them and I talked a little bit and talked a little bit and talked a little bit. And then even my therapist said, Aaron, have you ever talked to anybody about how you were feeling? No, because I didn't know what I was feeling. And then he said, yeah, I want you to come visit me twice a week. I said, all right, cool. Right. In the military, you know how it is. It's
Uh-huh.
frowned upon going to mental health, frowned upon going to med hall, just severely frowned upon.
So
We We are men. We're not supposed to need that.
I will tell you, after my first tour in Iraq, they diagnosed me with PTSD because I answered the questions honestly. And then they sent me to, I was living in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have to take a bus to one place and then a bus from the other place, from one base to another base, and then for another bus from that base to another base. And pretty much my whole day would be traveling until I got my mental health appointment and then I'll come back. And during this time, it was like we were the first deployed, so then you had the rear part go up forward second, so we were like the rear element at this time. But now it's starting to get in my head. I'm like, this has to be like the common cold. Like I wish I understood this better, and I will tell you why I think it is frowned upon. But then they also have people that do care. Like I was coming back, I should not coming back. I was going from the comm shop over to BAH,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard doof, and I dove and I hit the deck as hard as I could. I hit the ground, and when I did that, I remember doing like kind of like a push up and looking to see if anybody saw me just dive into the ground as hard as I could because I thought there was a mortar coming in.
Oh, snaps.
And so I should have realized with green grass, everything else, different type of thing. Nope. And then I was like,
Your head goes there.
yep. And then when I left that duty station, I went to another duty station, didn't say anything, didn't self report. So I went to this other duty station. It was kind of common. And I landed up freaking out, or I actually started yelling at one of my sergeants, my platoon sergeant at the time.
Snaps. How
Yep.
did that go?
Well, when somebody is telling you wanting to drill gets people killed,
Uh-huh.
and at this time when I checked in, I had a NAM with a combat V, and they're like, "Oh, you're a little bit jacked up." They're like, "Let me go talk to somebody else," and the guy was like, "You're gonna go see somebody in mental health now." It's like I was like, "Sure." So I was like, "Put me in Iraq again," and it just I had to sign a waiver to go back overseas.
Uh-huh.
And the reason I'm actually bringing this up is that we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to actually show any weakness. We don't want to get pulled out of the game. We don't want to actually be the person that allowed other people to go overseas without them. It's a it's like how do I get better or sit on the sidelines getting better while I watch everybody else over there getting
It's a
some.
catch 22.
Mm-hmm.
Really is. So, you know, I've been lonely in the Air Force, right? I didn't talk to anybody. This is when disclaimer comes in. I finally made friends. I thought were my friends. Um, they we did dumb shit all the time, man. Dumb stuff. Like thinking back, we probably could have got Article 15 on. Probably should have got kicked out the Air Force on. Just dumb, random shit, man. So they invited me to a house party, right? We drank a lot, but I don't remember drinking that much for me to black out, right? And then I woke up the next day. The same shit happened. I woke up. I felt sore in my backside. Um, I was alone in the bed. I knew that feeling well because it happened prior. So someone raped me again. It was one of the handful of guys that I was at the house party with. It had to be. I went up. I went up to my first shirt and my commander, and they both said, "Do you know who did it?" No. Do you have any proof? No. Well, then, sorry, we can't do anything. Our hands are tied. Like, what the? Are you serious? Like, yeah. So I went to, so, yeah. So nothing to happen.
And it's and you thought you would only be able to talk for 30 minutes. You already been talking for 65.
No, I know, man.
Uh,
I know.
no, it's honestly and what's actually really troubling is that people that are molested when they're kids, their likelihood of being molested again as adults goes up astronomically.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's so fucked up because it's why is this actually happening? Why does this happen to people? And when we were in Chicago, there was another guy there, and I don't know if you knew this. I'm not going to say his name, but he was molested as a kid, and then he was molested a few times in his adolescence. And then, if I remember correctly, he got molested while he was in the army. And it's horrible. Yeah,
Yeah. So I began getting in trouble a lot in the Air Force because at that time I didn't care. They like my commanding officer, my first shirt, my tech sergeant, my like my my staff like so my whole chain of command failed me. They didn't have my back. So why would I try? Why would I give them me if I if like we'll call it they didn't have my back? So I quit shaving. I quit showing up to PT. I just quit life. I was just a hull of a shell. And then they were like, Aaron, you need to fix yourself or you are going to get kicked out. I said, well, then fine. Kick me out. I don't care. Go ahead and I just don't care. So finally, they were like, okay, some some something wrong. Like last year, you were great. You were gung ho. You were wanting to be in for 20 years. Great. But what happened? And then I looked at him in the face and then I said, you know what happened, but no one seems to care. And then they like, so then like the rollback was happening, like the riff was happening. So then they said, okay, we aren't going to kick you out, but we will riff you because we failed you and we know we did. So we will just so you will get all your benefits, you will get blah blah blah. So you served honorably. Here you go. Boom. The West is history. Right?
that's another abandonment right there.
Yeah,
So
100%.
so not only
100%.
not only did you get done dirty, you got screwed over, literally and physically. And then when you actually do the physical response or physical cry for help by actually showing like blatant disobedience, which is like not shaving, not showing up, hey, please help me. You know I'm fucked up. Because obviously my words are not doing it. I'm going to have my actions start to show it. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, cool, bud.
Peace out. Again. Yeah. Yep. So after I got out, I couldn't hold a job, man. I couldn't. It was job after job after job after job. I couldn't hold one down, man, to save my life. It was like 2 years. I remember one year I had 32 W-2s. Couldn't hold a job down. I was depressed. I was always sleeping. I never ate. I lost tons of weight. Um, I got married there because, why not? Right. And then I had my son Aiden in 2012, and my and then his mother's family said, "You need to man up. You need to just because you had a child doesn't make you a man. You need to man up. You need to get a job. You need to blah blah blah. Trying to fix it by telling you what to do, right? Telling you what it means to be a man." So I pushed down my feelings and I swallowed it, and I figured out, okay, fine, I'm going to figure out my shit. So I went to go work at the post office. I got a divorce. The post office sucks, man. I wouldn't wish the post office on anybody. I really wouldn't. That horrible management. Everybody talk trash on you. Everybody just just horrible, bro. And at that time when I swallowed everything and I just started to go to the job and I was getting bullied on on the daily. I worked there, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, right? I don't know what happened, but AJ came into the picture. AJ and Aaron, you know a little bit about AJ.
I do know about AJ, and you know, Aaron, I don't want to actually cut off this, but I would actually like to devote pretty much an hour to AJ.
Okay.
Would you mind if we talked about AJ for about an hour another time about how
Oh, absolutely. AJ is actually very,
he's very
very,
interesting?
yes. And yeah,
And the reason I'm actually saying that is like I was trying to keep a lot of these, and this is not me shutting you down at all.
no, by any means. Yeah.
And I think honestly, I don't want to rush over AJ and actually how Aaron and AJ actually have two different views on life and how AJ actually saves Aaron in a lot of areas, but then also really hinders Aaron in other areas.
I'm almost done actually. And it's cool that you say that because I didn't realize that. Okay, let's end AJ now. That's for another thing because, yes. So then I got the divorce. I left the post office and I found a job. No, I left the post office, then I found my wife. My wife, she's my rock. She listens to me. Dude, without her, I wouldn't be here. I tried to commit suicide. I ran to her. I said, "Honey, I need help." I I mean, it was bad. Right after a Wounded Warrior Project event, I went on like a soldier ride. It was pretty intense, man, real intense. I was afraid. I um Dude, she's my rock. She's a person who I ran to during my suicide attempt. Finally I could talk to somebody about my past. Finally I could talk to her and open up with her, and she is the reason why I'm self-healing, why I went to mental health at the VA, why I am on meds now. um Dark thoughts come here and there, right? But I reach out to her and she tells me, "Hey, that's Aaron." Oh no, she would say, "You are Aaron, not a not not
Eh,
AJ."
And yeah, it's what's interesting is the intrusive thoughts, the dark thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from an area that has been suppressed. You just talked about two times that you were violated heavily. Then you also talked about a shit ton of abandonment. The AJ, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you more about him with that other personality, the other protector in a way, the one that you knew how to help you out. It's by being able to associate. I'm Aaron. I'm actually a good guy. AJ, he appears bad, but at the root of AJ, he's a good guy. I'm not being seen. I'm being hurt. What can we do about this? If nobody
Mm.
fucking cares about us, let's actually make sure we get some. We'll just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this one over here is like, make kind of sense in a way, but at the same time, it's the meeting your wife. She is a gem. She is a gem. You are a gem. But that that dark side, man. I've talked about my suicide. I believe I told you about my last attempt, which was
Mm.
January 14th of 21. I just wanted the noise to stop.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like I really wanted to kill myself, even though that was the action that I was going to do. It was I wanted all the negative, all that intrusive, all that darkness.
You want your mind to stop.
Yeah, so you might as well just drown the demons in its own blood. It's a very dark place.
Blow it up with like a nuke. Just end it all. Yeah.
But and we're not going to leave it there. I will share that I did 7 days in the psych ward, which gave me some time, and then doing 13 weeks in a residential program allowed me to heal off of my traumas. When having that new life, having that new perspective, it's still scary
Well, yeah.
because it's not predictive. It's
Yeah.
like, hold on a second, I could tell people now. I could
Huh?
tell people I don't like this. I could walk away. I could set hard boundaries with people. I could say that I'm going to take care of this, and that's nice. I don't need your your validation anymore. If you would like,
100%.
but it's
And
scary.
that actually ties into my last thing. Can I finish
Of course. I'm so
really?
no, you don't have to finish
Okay.
really quick.
Okay.
Just go ahead, bud.
Okay. So that comes out to my last thing. That ties in perfectly, man. I don't need validation. If if like I learned this just recently too, just I don't know, a couple of months ago, right? If 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 you don't like me, it's okay. I have people who love me, right? It's okay that not everybody gets me. It's okay that not everybody likes me, right? Be this is what I think you told me just recently. Be confident with who you are because because you make people laugh, right? And I do. I like bringing people happiness because I didn't see it so much in my life that I want to make people smile and laugh and stuff like that. But that also ties into AJ, which we will talk about later. But this is what I live by, and this is what I learn to live by, and it makes me a happier person, and it makes people around me happier, right? The golden rule: do unto others as you'll have them do unto you. Matthew 7:12. Um, if you treat people nice, they will treat you nice. If you are honest to people, they'll be honest to you. Um, it took me a while to realize that, and I knew that the Baxters had a huge point in that because they would always tell me, hey, you need to be nice for people to be nice to you. I didn't really realize that until later on in life what they meant. But dude, now I treat everybody nice. I treat everybody with a with without a doubt. Everybody's life means something. So why am I going to devalue them just to make myself feel better? So,
The things I said to you, and I'll say this again to you, you're more than just making people laugh. You're a good soul. You're a good person. You're a person that actually gives a chance to be. You do make them laugh because that's what you like to do, because that's how you look at the attention. But you're a genuine person. I don't know why you like the New York Jets, but the realistic part about this, man, is your wife helped you be able to connect to yourself and start into healing. And
she's my rock, man. She really is.
but the reason that she was able to help you, she was able to help you were able to take your mask off for her.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take your mask off for the other vets that you work with the other people that you meet, it's it's okay to have that stuttering problem. The ST word. Why would they do that? And
Dude, it sucks, man.
but
The the stuttering problem
see, look, you just fucking nailed it right there, bud.
because of the toe. Thank you.
The toe.
The toe.
Yeah. Honestly, I learned that on the fly right there. I was just like,
Dude, you were freaking smart. You tried to be like, I did my lap thing, and then you were like, try to rub your uh try try to rub your hip. Now try to rub your fingers. Now just try to push down your toe. And my toe worked. Nobody saw what I was doing.
so I was trying to think about what was while you were doing it. I paid attention to that you were just your stutter would go away when you were slightly distracted. And I was trying to think about how do you actually make the minimal visibility so that your insecurities would not be actually drawn to the physical. And yeah, that's really what it came down to. But I also think the other thing that helped you was that you were actually being seen more than just your stutter. You were being seen because you were a good human.
Thank you.
And Aaron, I didn't ask you this question, but it's heavily implied that you sharing your story is not only for you, it's actually for other people listening. And it's actually meant for that people can get better. At least that's
Yeah.
how I feel. And I'll ask you like maybe one or more two questions because I think it's what you just said, everything was powerful, but how do you feel like you sharing your story today? How do you think it could be able to be beneficial to anybody listening?
I want to say to people who are listening, even though it may seem dark now, there's always, I know you hear this all the time, and it gets so, it just, it rubs me raw when people say it when I am in my dark place, but it's the truth. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. In that light there, you will, like, that tunnel is like translucent from the outside. From the inside, you can't see anything out. But then whenever you are outside, I don't. But from the outside, you are able to see all the trouble and all the things that 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 you gone through, and you get to see how you get to see all your triumphs and all your we'll call all your adversities and all your, and it makes you that much of a better person. But you just gotta Yeah, you just got to reach out.
One thing I'm going to tell you I also noticed is when you're thinking on the fly, that's what increases your anxiety, which increases your stutter. But I know it's going to sound odd, but trust yourself, man. Trust yourself because the words, you have them. You know these things. Just because you wrote the script, you read the script probably about 3 or 4 times, it's, you know you. And like I said, man, it's a beautiful part of you. And any final words?
Just, I hope the guys who do listen to this and who do see this um, are 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 man enough. I I I double dog dare you to reach out to somebody. That's it.
Thank you, Big Daddy Aaron.
Thanks, bud.